hour again, and welcome to Windham Weekly with your host, Ken Folan, and my comrade in arms,
Mark Doyle.
and he's a mushroom. So,
That's because I'm a fun guy.
Yeah. It's like we promised last week, we will continue having guests on that will surprise you, make you happy, and improve the brighter points of Windham. And so last week we told you who it was, but if you weren't listening last week, shame on you. We have Bob Bonamano from Wyndham's IGA, right here on Route 32 in South Wyndham, your hometown IGA store. And listen, it's going to be a fascinating and fast hour because we want to know a little about the background, how Bob first got into it. Let's talk about his family, the size of his family will shock you, his development in 2008, and then what's happening today that brought him to the station. So welcome, Bob.
Thank you. Pretty glad to be here, guys. Appreciate the invite.
A little closer to that mic.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I'm not used to speaking on the radio, but I appreciate the invite. It's great to have you guys take an interest in us in our local market.
Well, it's very important because what you're doing after, and we'll get to that quickly. What you're doing is huge because it is a private development. It's a private company, a family who is investing in our community, and we need the folks to continue to support you in a big way.
Appreciate that.
Because it's let me tell you, supermarkets coming hard to find around here lately.
There's always room for one good independent.
And we need this one good. We need this guy to grow in big.
So speaking of a big way, Ken, let's talk about the expansion that we're doing.
Yeah, we're actually almost doubling the size of the store. We're adding on over 9,000 square feet. Most of it's going to be retail space. Right now, our retail space is about 8,000 and change. This has been in the planning for a long time. It happened kind of by accident. Some of our very good customer and neighbors, which we loved for years, that would visit us on a daily basis, started with one of the gentlemen's passing away, and the kids offered us the house, and we said, well, we need parking. We need parking over there so bad, it was unreal. So we ended up buying that house, and that was like 3 years ago. And as the rest of the neighbors heard that we were, thinking about expanding and everything else, another neighbor came to us and said, hey, why don't you buy my house and you can, he says, I'm the key to actually expanding the store. And he was right. And we bought that house. And then one of the gentlemen on the corner another gentleman ended up passing away. And the heirs ended up offering us their house. And then the one girl in the middle that I actually owned that house 20 years ago and sold to her came to us and said, says, I'm right in the middle of the thing there. Why don't you buy my house too? So we ended up with 4 properties.
So 2 on each side?
2 on each side, right. One of them, 3 of them is going to become all parking lot. So, and one of them is going to be where on the back road, which is on Sylvester Street behind the store. That's where the addition is going to go over.
So you're going to have you got a lot of fill into. Because you're going downhill there.
We're going downhill. We're going to put a full basement in there. Which is something we did not do the last time, and I'm really sorry for that because we have absolutely no storage. We have in the grocery business we have 20 pounds in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Right.
So we need some more storage and everything else. We're putting in an elevator in the back room. So when we do have an opportunity to buy in product deals, truckloads, we actually buy a lot of products, buy the half trailers and trailers like that, and be able to have a place to put it and store it and be able to pass the deal on with that. So
the way you're going to reconfigure is the receiving side of the business still going to be on 32, or is it going to be the rear?
No, it is going to be on 32. We're not changing our delivery things. We're not changing our entrance or exit as it stands right now. We did not want to put trailer trucks on the back road for the community. Those people back there don't deserve to have trailer trucks, coming up and down the road. So we're going to deliver to the same spot over there, and we're going to be able to. I hope with that one dock, because most of our deliveries, like our big trailers, come in first thing in the morning. Yeah. They're real early, so they won't interfere with the traffic later in the day.
So the expansion is really going towards the rear and a little bit to the side. Is it?
It's going the same width, so the same depth on as the store is right now, but facing the store from Windham Road to the right-hand side.
To the right-hand side.
Right-hand side, yeah.
Perfect.
So
let's start though from the beginning. I mean, really quick, you met your wife, you got married, everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And at some point, you started the trade. the butcher trade? What,
Oh,
15 or so?
15 years old. Been cutting meat since I was 15. Started a little butcher shop in Rhode Island. We were talking about Rhode Island,
Yeah.
Cranston. There was a meat Park Avenue where the YMCA is.
Park Avenue, yeah.
Sure. Across the street was a little market called Bo Peep Meats. And I walked in there one day and the guy says, hey, you want a job? And my starting wage was $1.25 an hour, right? And then I said, well, I want to learn how to cut meat. He says, well, I'm not paying you to learn. So you want to learn, you got to come in on your own time. And so I did. I used to do it at nighttime and cut and things like that. And ended up working for the chain stores. So and ended up going on to First National stores. If you guys remember First Nationals.
Absolutely.
And the Edwards Food Warehouses. I used to turn around and back then I ended up becoming the meat manager. I used to open up a lot of the Edwards.
Well, it looks like we got a phone call, Ken.
Go right ahead, caller.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. And I had a question. I just overheard that there's not going to be no change to the entrance and the exit of the Bob's Windham IGA.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. My concern is all the amount of the accidents on Route 32 right in front of the store from getting in and getting out. So is there going to be any change there? Is the light going up or?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Is what going up?
A light.
Are they going to be putting
yeah.
up a light? Because there's just
That's
a lot of
actually-
accidents in front
Yeah,
of the
no, and
store.
I understand your concern. Actually, that's a state highway, and if the state would want to put in a light, we would encourage it and glad to have them do it. I don't think they have plans on that. They have not talked to us about it or anything. But if with the addition that we're putting on and everything else and the traffic flow, the new volume that we should do is actually not much different than like our peak weeks on a truckload sale. So it shouldn't be as much increase in traffic as it should be the availability of parking spaces for the customer out on the road and everything else. So that should stop them from having to stop in the entrance as they're pulling in to try to look for a parking space and hopefully make the flow a lot easier.
Yeah, you just see people going to pull in, and sometimes they stop halfway because they're not able to.
Yeah, well,
so more parking hopefully should be better.
Yeah, I hope so. That is the plan of it. I mean, we took 2 years with civil engineers to design this, and believe me, it was a major commitment to turn around and get something that was acceptable to the town and to everyone to make sure that we're doing this the right way. Because I'll be honest with you, at my age, I can't afford to make a mistake. I won't have the time to go back and fix it.
All right. Well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, caller.
All right.
Want to announce the number?
Sure.
Ken?
Anyone else like to call and ask Bob from Bob's IGA right out here in South Wyndham? 456-1400. Love to take your calls. So Bob,
Let me make sure we're not taking orders.
No,
You can't order ground in here.
Bob will take some notes.
Well,
and go
I
back to
can
the
make
store.
notes.
All right. So Bob will meet you back at the store after the show.
So Bob was in the midst of telling us a story that started in Rhode Island, where everything starts. That's great.
Yeah.
And so go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, I ended up with working for a chain store in Rhode Island, Big G back then, and then I ended up at First National. First National said to me, if you want a job, you got to go work in Connecticut, and I said, okay, and that's where I met my wife. I worked for First National in Brooklyn, Connecticut, and my wife, I was the meat cutter, my wife was my meat wrapper.
Okay.
We're celebrating our 49th anniversary this year.
Congratulations
We have,
on that.
thank you. Yeah, we have 6 children, 22 grandchildren, and 15 great grandchildren.
Whoa.
So, and you know what? All our kids have all worked in the business. They grew up. One of my sons wrote his college essay based on that. He said he knew when he was young that little by little it would come his time and he would have to come upstairs and start working with his brothers and sisters. And he did too.
You would get the big turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Then, huh?
So this is a true family business, and I know your son and daughter-in-law and your son-in-law are all involved.
Yeah, so my son is in the business with me.
But,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, my son is in the business with me when I, not for a long time, but when I pass, it'll be his. But in the meantime, it's mine. I own it personally.
Yeah, no, that's and that's again, and Bob may be the best grocer, the best meat cutter, but a lot of it depends on the community support.
You know,
And I think you're appreciative of that. I know you are.
Now, Bob, I know you've been here a long time since I moved into town some 30 years ago when you were here. How long has Bob IGA been up?
1984. 1984. I was 30 years old when I bought that store. I was explaining earlier. I I always worked 7 days a week my entire life. This one particular Sunday afternoon, I had to come home sick from First National. I was really not in good shape at all, and I used to read the business opportunities section like someone would read the Bible.
Yep.
I knew I wanted to be in business for myself, and anyway, I ended up. This store was in the opportunities in the business op section. I ended up, sending my wife down the next morning. We put a deposit on the store and we bought it. So, best thing, well, other than marrying my wife, second best thing that I've done in my life.
Well,
you know,
and
so.
third best after your children.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah,
Let's get them in there.
I had a lot of help with those, though.
So the history of the store I was talking about earlier, and these are familiar names in town. It was owned by the Bergerons,
Right.
and then the Bonifines.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
yeah.
Bob bought it, and
Yeah.
and that's. And I remember moving into town 40 years ago and going into the store and this and that, and I just always shopped. But to be honest with you, and then 2008 came, and it was like a new experience.
That was actually, I apologize, correct. 2006 was the
2006.
First, that was major. That was a major commitment for us to do that. Actually, I went to the town zoning board and the town zoning official, and I told him that I said, yeah, we want to expand, and he was very discouraging, very discouraging about doing it. And at the end of the conversation, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and he said to me, "Now you need to talk to someone on your side." And he gave me the name of one of the town engineers that I went down and talked to, and he encouraged me. So that's how we got started with building the new store as it stands right now. But we actually, if anyone gets a chance, you'll see it on our website. It shows the progression of the store from 1984 when we bought it, the original picture, which I'm not sure how many people were back in the area at that point. It looked like, like we grew up in Cranston, it looked like a little spa, a little convenience store. And I do mean little, really small, pretty run down and everything. We bought it in 84. Then by 88, we had put a couple of additions on it and squared it off, made it look nicer, maybe not the best, but nicer. And then in 2006, we put the big addition on, tore down most of the old store. And now, like I said, with the new store, there's a picture on there of what the elevation or what the front of the store is going to look like. So, yeah.
Did you have a caller ask any information about the original owner or anything like that?
You know, I know the Bergerons have passed on, and actually even one of the sons, Lee Bergeron, worked for me for years as a part-time meat cutter and everything. A true gentleman, and if the Bergeron family knows out there, they understand what I'm saying. A real gentleman. I didn't really know the rest of the Bergerons. The Bonifines that I bought it from, John Bonifine, the father, worked for me for 2-3 years after that. I ended up buying the store. Everyone referred to him as Pop. That was Pop Bonifine, and John stayed with me for a few years. He had sold it to his son. His son wanted to do other things. He had other business interests. So after John sold it to his son sold it to me. So, now I got to tell you, the biggest problem with being an independent is the succession. We have a lot of friends that are in the business, independent retailers. There's not a lot of children that want to stay in the business because it's a lot of work. I mean, it's
7 days a week. That's
7 days a week.
Yeah.
It literally is 7 days a week. I mean, I literally got, and I'm not complaining. I mean, I woke up 2:30 this morning. I was thinking about what to do and everything else, thinking about what's going on. We're running a truckload sale right now. I said 3 o'clock. I said, the heck with this. I got up and went to work. I mean, that's what I do, right? I mean, and not too many young kids want to do that. Say, I'm lucky that my son will work. My son works 7 days a week too.
2:30 this morning, I get up to go to the bathroom and I went right back to bed. So
well, that's what started it. Wait a minute.
And for Mark Doyle, that's a good start.
Say, Bob, one of the things that always impressed me about the IGA is your selection of meat. Is there any part of the cow that you don't sell?
I'd have to think about that.
I know my dog is very happy to when I go there and I get the bones, but you seem to have every segment.
We do.
There.
We have everything from all the standard cuts to the awful cuts. You know, we're very competitive on our prices, and I'm proud of that.
Yep.
Our motto is quality product at a reasonable price. So we go out try to do a price check. There's very few stores that we can go to. Matter of fact, I don't know of any store that carries the variety that we carry that they can go in. We can go in there and get an idea of what other stores are charging for it and everything, you know, on a regular basis. And I'm not sure. I believe I'm accurate in saying we probably sell more fresh cut meat, and I do mean fresh cut meat, than any other meat department in probably Eastern Connecticut.
And also a wider variety, I'm sure.
Oh, sure. Well, we refer to those as the offal cuts and things like that.
Okay.
We sell everything from pig heads to beef feet. I mean, and the standards, oxtails and things like
Right.
that.
I think I've seen
Things
even chicken feet there.
Chicken feet all the time. That's a big item. Believe it or not, that's a big item. We sell quite a bit of chicken feet.
It's good for soup.
Yeah, that's what they use it for. Yeah, we sell a lot of goat. I mean, we sell, everything like the beef. I always wonder about the beef feet. I've never had beef feet soup, but I understand. That's what I understand. They do boil it down for the stock.
Bob, so when you're talking about butchering in the back, besides cleaning the silver skin and all this other stuff and trimming, do you actually take the primals and cut them down?
Yes, we do. So, all right. So when I
Why
first
don't you tell people what the primals
Yeah,
are?
Okay, all right. So
tell them what the primals are.
Right. All right. So you're knowledgeable on this. So we
Right.
got.
Oh, I know where the
I got to
beef
be
is.
careful on this. Someone might know something.
I'm just a hamburger guy. So.
That's all right, Mark. Right. But when I first started, we started with sides of beef.
The
whole
sides,
hanging
wow.
sides. Matter of fact, my first cutting test for First National, I had to break down 2 4/4 as the cutting test. I think they're having me do their setup for the day. But nowadays, back then, if you wanted to buy like in bulk, you had to buy a side or a quarter of beef, hind quarter or 4/4. Nowadays, they've broken down the sections where they actually a 4/4 is made up of the chuck. Right, the rib, the shank, the shoulder. Right, you can get the front plate out of it and everything else. The hind quarter is the short loin, the sirloin, all the round cuts, top round, bottom round, eye rounds, beef shank, and things like that. Okay. Nowadays, if you come in and you say, before it used to be, well, I bought a hind quarter and I really like the porterhouse steaks and the sirloins, but what do I do with all those round cuts? Well, you had to take them because it was part of the animal.
Right.
And, nowadays, you come in and say, you know what, I like porterhouse steaks. Well, you can just buy a short loin and you can get exactly what you want. I'm paying for porterhouse steaks because that's what I like, and there's no waste to it. Nothing that I'm not going to use, and that's the type of waste I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay. So primals are actually sections of the animal itself that we're able to slice and dice for the customer according to what they need. That's what makes us unique in the meat business today. We sell a lot of primals, a lot of these whole pieces, whole ribeyes, whole New York strips, whole tenderloins, whole export ribs, the prime ribs, the short loins, whole bottom rounds, top rounds, you name it, eye rounds, whole boneless chucks we sell on a regular basis.
Are you grinding fresh?
We do. So we use,
wow.
we grind absolutely fresh. We don't buy anything that's pre-ground whatsoever. Everything that we sell in our store was ground fresh in our store from trim and whole primal beef that we grind.
I remember
right there.
I remember right after COVID, it was still obviously the holidays are coming. And you go in for a nice prime rib,
Right.
and the prime rib price was so low versus the price of ground beef because no one was buying the cut steaks, and so there was no waste to
No waste,
to
no
grind.
trim.
That's what happens.
But we're lucky enough that we have to buy, like on a week like this, the grinding meat that I'm using, whole like chuck tenders, things like that, which are lean, a lot of flavor, really good eating. Okay, and you're proud of it when you sell it. Okay, I go through 150 cases. That's and that's at 60 to 70 pounds a case, right? And that's in 1 week. I mean,
I know that, like for Thanksgiving, my wife and I go there and we pre-order the turkey.
Oh, sure.
Do you do a lot of special orders or pre-orders for people?
We do a
if
lot.
They want to come in and they're going to have a huge 4th of July party.
Just between today and tomorrow, I'll sell about between 4 organizations about 1,000 pounds of sirloin steak. We go from all the way, just about most of the organizations in Eastern Connecticut, all the way down to the woman that wants a 3-rib roast for the holiday, or a spoon roast, or whatever it is. I mean, we try to cater. A valuable product, when we always talk about selling a value, quality meat, okay? Quality meat isn't always a porterhouse steak, okay? That's a great eating steak, but not everyone can afford a porterhouse steak or a prime rib. So we sell, everything from, like you were talking about pig's feet, that customer's going to take home, make something with, feed their family. Chicken leg quarters. I need to feed a family of 10, and I need to do it for a reasonable price. Pork chops. I need to be able to feed so many kids or so many people. I have a budget. So quality product is when the customer walks out the door and is satisfied. So we have practically everything in the case and readily available. But we also have a meat cutter around till at least 5:30 every day. So when the customer comes in the door, right? I mean, we start early. I'm in at least 5 o'clock every morning. My son-in-law John, that's my meat manager, he's in there by 6 o'clock every morning, and we'll have another cutter in at 7 or 8. We have 5 butchers, and they'll turn around. And then we always have the one guy that's 9 to 5:30 or 9:30 to 6, and that's the guy. Your job is to take care of the customers and take care of the case, okay? We do the bulk of the cutting during the day ahead of time.
Okay.
But when someone walks in the door at that time and wants something special.
They're always willing to trim and cut for you. If you're buying a nice piece, they take good care of you there.
They better be. I'm watching them.
I got a little more clout now.
Moving off the meats for a second, you also have a very Bonneville section of vegetables. You sell a wide variety of vegetables.
Yeah, good amount.
I think most of them are fresh. Who manages that department for you? How do you get all the fresh veggies?
Ashley De Jesus, shout out to you, Ash. All right, great girl, very knowledgeable, is doing a great job for us. When she first came to us, she had to learn the produce business, and she's done phenomenal with it. Very conscientious, and is out there every morning. She's in by 6 o'clock every day, culling the case, going through it, making sure everything's good, saleable, and everything else. That's one thing I want everyone to know. So why I go in at 5 o'clock in the morning is not because I just love getting up early, although I don't mind, but it's to handle every single package before that day starts. And that includes produce, meat, the deli. We want to make sure what we're going to sell that day is good and the customer's going to take home is going to be happy with it. So,
and produce is as much as meat and beef and everything else is a tough call in my industry as well. Yeah. Produce is right there with it as far as I'm concerned, because it's you got holding temps and this and that. Everything. Vegetable has different conditions in which they want to live in after they've been picked.
But we also have a produce butcher, so Oscar is Oscar Rios.
Doing all the cuts?
That's who does all the cuts in the back room. We make our own fresh sofrito, things like that. And we're actually the new store. If you're familiar with our store, the meat department's open, so you can actually see the butchers. You can actually talk to them while they're working and everything else. And that's why I did it that way. That was our design, and we had to get permission from the state and the health board to do it that way, to make sure. I told them, I said, I'm not going to put a butcher in a back room. Well, the new store is not going to have a produce person or a baker in the back room either. Okay, it's going to be all open department. You'll be able to go over. You'll be able to walk right up to it, and you'll see the guy cutting up produce or the baker baking everything right there, and you'll be able to talk to him. So if you want something, all you have to do is say, hey, excuse me, or in our store, we usually have to apologize for the customer standing in front of the case, because if someone stands in front of that primal case for more than a minute or so, they should get asked by at least 3 people, can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? And that's what I want them to do.
I'm a secret shopper.
That's good. Good for you.
I'll report to you about it. Don't you worry about it. But that's kind of cool, because when you're going in and again, in my industry where there's chefs all over the place that want vegetables cut a certain way. It's amazing to me how many different types of ways you can slice or dice or chop a vegetable that wouldn't be acceptable unless it's the way he wants it.
That's right.
And so we go, when we're going in there and there's all that slice and dice stuff, and going, that's a lot of work.
There's a lot of work. Oscar does a lot of work back there, and they do a great job with it.
So that's great, the open concept, because I love that. I personally love that. So the expansion, I would imagine your meat case itself, where the deli is and where you're making all those grinders, is going to be...
That's all going to be, there's going to be a whole new prepared food bar over there where the grinders are. Obviously, the produce department and the bakery is going into the addition on the other side of the store, so we can make room for the deli. We do unbelievable amount of sandwiches, grinder business. I do a lot of speaking for IGA nationally, and you talk to them about grinders, and a lot of people don't understand that across the country, what a grinder is. And I used to write for Progressive Grocer magazine about the meat business.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you mean a sub.
There you go.
I'm from Boston. I'm from
there you go. So get the subs, right? Well, Rhode Island had subs.
Submarine Valley.
There you go.
Your plate. I'm going to get back to the new edition in a minute. But your story reminds me, and you might know the place too. I bet. Growing up in Cranston, I don't know if you ever trekked over to Attleboro, South Attleboro.
Sure. I know the area. Yeah.
Broadway.
Yeah.
And there's a place called Rojack's.
Okay.
That grocery store. Yeah. It was identical. And then that family grew it.
Grew. It's big now. Yeah. So I don't know if it's still around now. But
I don't think it is. But that was like, instead of going to a name brand market, we would go there because everything was My dad was pretty particular about his
You
meat.
guys look at all these change. I apologize. Such language.
He's a mushroom.
Yeah, but
I'm a fun guy.
all the stores you see out there, Big Y is a great independent,
Yes, it is,
family-owned business. I mean, and I have a lot of respect for Big Y. I think they run a great operation. But all the big chains started somewhere. They started as one guy has. We have a friend in IGA is very big across the world. I don't know if anyone knows that. IGA is very big in Australia. They're the third largest distributor of groceries in Australia, and we have a really good family friend down there, Joe Rubino, and his whole family. We've been to Australia with them. We've been on trips with them to Italy and everything else. They started as a mom and pop store with a deli, and they're up to about 35 stores, right? So I mean,
Are they still using IGA warehouse? My father, when he was still alive, worked in an IGA warehouse, and
Roger Williams?
No, he worked at Cressy Dockums.
Okay.
Up in Salem, Mass.
Okay. Yeah.
But they were just supplying IGA stores.
Right.
Is that how it still works? Is there still the national organization?
Well, yeah, national. Yeah, IGA is IGA, by the way, is even in China. It's a little bit different over there, but it's even in China. But IGA right now, Bizzuto's is our wholesaler. But we talked earlier. Adam Bizzuto, the founder of the Bizzuto's, put me in business over 40 years ago. Going to be 41 years ago. Basically on a handshake. They invested in a lot of independents. They're one of the actual owners of IGA. It's put together by a bunch of independent warehouses that have a say in IGA and what they do nationally. IGA still, nowadays though, in order to be able to compete, like Bizzuto's, they supply a lot of other stores besides just the IGAs. And I'm not going to name them all, but they supply other stores in this area too that are very big. So
Now, tell me one other thing. Are you going to make the aisles bigger so I can actually walk down them?
Yeah, I know that. Isn't
Ken and
that
I
a
can't
bummer?
walk together.
I know that. Isn't it a bummer?
Yeah, we have to go.
You're going to get a
we have to
little
go to
bit
stores
more
separately
width.
because we
I
just
don't
don't fit
want to
in
be
those
seen in
aisles.
public. You never want to walk together with you.
I'm going to have an eye out for you two guys.
just-
I'm not sure about this.
I just want to make sure we got some bigger aisles there. That's all I'm asking, Bob.
Yeah, actually, they're going to be a little bit wider, but they're not going to be that much wider. We're still very limited. As big as we're going to be, we're still the small guy, right? And we talk about. The reason for the open thing is like when I started at a little market in Rhode Island, Bo Peep Meat Market, when Mrs. Jones walked in the front door, Bobby and Frank was the owner, Bobby was the meat cutter. I mean, Bobby's the guy that taught me how to cut meat when I was 15 and everything else. It was, "Hi, Mrs. Jones, how you doing?" They didn't have to leave the bench. They stood there. They greeted every customer as they walked in. And that's what I want out of my meat department. And I want out of my produce now. It's going to happen. I want out of my bakery. "Hey, how you doing?" Now, we have over 6,000 customers a week going through our store now. So do I know them all by name? Heck no. I wish I did.
Right.
I know a lot of them by face, though. I'm proud to that, although we're constantly getting new customers every day. But we want to have that friendliness and everything else in the store and give that idea to the customer that not only do we appreciate it, but they're welcome. We're really glad that they came to us. I mean, if they want to get snubbed, there's a lot of other places they can go to. It's definitely, you get what you come for. But we are going to make the aisles a little bit bigger, but we're still a small guy, and it's still going to be hard to fit everything in. Yeah.
And now, one of the things that sure always reminds me of is, again, when I was a young lad, and my dad would go to the shopping on Saturday. We would go to Finest or A&P, and you'd get the groceries, but then you'd always go to the store with the meat counter out front, and that's where you got your meat.
Butcher shop.
You actually
That's
talk
right.
to the butcher, which you don't have in today's mega markets. You don't get that opportunity.
They can't afford to pay. I tell you what. So, you guys are aware of the Help Save the Butcher program?
Help Save the Butcher.
All right.
Actually, that was a national program.
It is.
You went down to the convention and
Right.
you presented.
We started right here in Willimantic.
I remember those days.
Right, and that's our program. I own it. The whole bit. I've had members from here to California, all across the country. That's how I ended up getting into IGA. Has the IGA Coca-Cola Institute every year. They bring in people from South America and all over the United States to learn about how marketing and merchandising and how to run a successful supermarket. And when it came to meat department, there was no one out there. I'm up there with college professors, okay, and people that are, all these different credentials and everything else, and Bob the Butcher from Willimantic, Connecticut, okay? And that's how they refer to me, Bob the Butcher, right? And it's like, there's very few people out there left that do what we do, and successfully, Retailers, if you're a retailer, you know what who you are and what you stand for. So most retailers make a mistake of not telling their customers who they are. You walk into my store, there's no doubt who we are. We're a butcher shop, and we got good produce, and we got good perishables. We're 75% of our business is perishables. You want to buy groceries in my store? I have them, and we'll take care of you. We're going to be much more competitive. We have a whole bunch of new programs that are coming in for groceries and everything else in the whole bit. But the reason people go out of their way to come shopping. It's not like it's on their regular route. I'm going to my grocery shop and I'm going to IGA. No, people do their grocery shopping, and then when they want to buy their perishables, whether it be once a month to fill their freezer or on their way home to buy a steak for dinner that night, they come to our store. And they go out of their way to come to us. And we draw all of Eastern Connecticut. We draw from London to Danielson. We draw all the way into Rhode Island. It's ironic. I grew up in Cranston, and my whole family is still up over there and everything else. And how many people they know that know our store and come shop over here and buy, especially from our truckload sales.
Right. Yeah. Question about the expansion too, and again, this is because I want to know. Any thoughts? I know your mainstays: beef, pork, chicken, so on. Any expansion into like a shellfish, fresh fish program at all? It's difficult. I get that.
It is. And I'm afraid of it.
That's part one and part two. What about more lamb product?
Yeah, you know what? So we have not had a lot of success with lamb. We used to carry lamb every day on a regular basis years ago, and it just was not a big item for the local people at that time. Now I'm not saying not. And again, believe me, there's things in life you don't do for the money. That's a sincere thing from the bottom of my heart. Sometimes you just need to know that you can do it and that you did the best job you can. The day I die, I wanted to be able to sit there and go, all right, I did my best. And this is part of it. I mean, if I could tomorrow, we would not only expand this store, we would buy other stores. But, I mean, it takes management. It takes help in case anyone's looking for a job that's experienced, We're always looking for butchers. We're looking for more produce help. We're looking for experienced grocery help. The whole bit. It's hard keeping employees today because the options out there are just so vast. The cost of employees is phenomenal.
Where do you get the butchers? I mean, I don't know. I know there's other like engineering schools, lawyer schools, whatever. But is there a school for butchers? Is there a Windham Tech? I mean, where do you get your butchers from?
I was an apprentice.
So they have to come up through someone's store. There isn't.
Has to come out of the store. So 3 of the guys working for us, including my son, were trained by me. Okay, so John, my son-in-law, Will, are one of our really good cutters, and my son Rob were all trained by me. Scott who's a great cutter, came out of Big Y, not Big Y. Better Values, okay. He was a meat manager with them over there. Jim came out of one of the chain stores. Greg came out of one of the independent, came out of the ShopRite thing and everything else. So, I mean, we try, and Dane came out from down south, came up with us. But, it's hard to find someone that wants to learn. We got a couple of good young guys in the meat department, 3 of them actually, Gerald, Daniel, and Roberto, that we'd like to encourage them to learn more about the meat business and everything else. Because when a customer comes in, and let's say we schedule a cutter to 5:30, and something happens that day that the cutter's not there, but we might have Daniel there or Gerald there or Roberto there or something else. The customer doesn't understand. I can't get that for you. Okay.
Right.
All they know is I came here. I took my time to drive to your store. You made me a promise. You were going to take care of me just by being open. Okay. I want someone knowledgeable that can give me an honest answer. When I teach for IGA, Paolo Gloser, who's the president of IGA Institute nationally, which I've helped with a lot of their courses and everything else, their college credit online courses that IGAs can take through the institute, everything else. He worries a lot about this symbol, is for grade A chicken. This symbol over here is for select or whatever, and everything else. I tell him, Paolo, when a customer walks in the door, you know what they want to know? I want to cook a pot roast. Right. What is the best piece of meat I can get that's going to be used for a pot roast? Yep. I want to throw a steak on the grill. Well, do you eat for flavor or you prefer something leaner? The customer wants to know, hey, if you're eating for flavor, how about a nice ribeye steak or a prime rib steak, okay? But if you want something a little bit leaner, I'm going to recommend a New York strip, okay? Right. A little bit leaner, good flavor, okay? Good choice piece of meat, tender, restaurant cut, that's the way I call it. That's a restaurant steak, okay? A filet, now, we sell a lot of filet, tenderloins. I very seldom ever take them home myself, okay? Because I want something with the fat. I want the ribeye, right? Yep. If you listen to our videos in the store and everything That's right. I said, my wife always says, real men eat ribeyes.
Get the nice kernel of fat. Juicing it up with the bone.
Is great.
Yeah, with the bone in.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, man, great. That's my cup of tea.
But, maybe there's something, Mark, again, being on the Board of Ed, there's all kinds of trades, plumbing, electrical, so on. Butchering is something that is a trade. It's a craft, right? That maybe you could, plug it in to the principal, Pam Kavanaugh, and say, hey, maybe there's a couple kids that could be taken under the wing, sat them sweeping the floor, cleaning the butcher area, something, and get them to get a knife in their hand when they're older, but get them to learn, because this is it's a local business, and it's a massive financial commitment that you've made, commitment to the future, to your family.
Oh yeah,
and so you're not going anywhere. I mean, for those kids who don't want to go to college, or they have no interest in that, but they don't want to be plumbers. They don't. And I don't know why you wouldn't want to be a plumber these days. Call one. And but I mean, it's a craft and a trade.
Yeah. It is.
My brother did it for years before he owned his own restaurant.
Oh,
for
no
many years,
kidding,
he called Ye Old Butcher Shop.
Oh, really? Far out.
Yep.
There you go. So I it is hard to find a butcher stand and everything else, and we had a lot through the culinary program. People go into the deli and the kitchen, things like that. But I think they see the opportunity. They want to become chefs or whatever, and that's what they look at. But as an independent, like I said, there's always room for one good independent supermarket, and you have to differentiate yourself, what you stand for. If I tried to be the lowest priced person in town up against like Aldi's and Walmart, as far as groceries go, I would get laughed out of here. Okay, but one thing I know the meat business, and I know the stuff that I've taught my employees to be able to share with my customers, and that's something that they don't do, and that is our strength, okay? And that's what we've built our business on.
One of the other things great, Ken.
I'm just saying, there's an old saying in the industry, Bob, if you sell by the price, you're going to die by the price.
That's right.
You got to talk about quality and acknowledge.
Right.
I know when I'm going in there, and I'm pretty good around the meat end of things, but I know when I'm going in there and I'm talking to one of your guys, and he'll know exactly what I'm looking for. So that's knowledge you're going to get, because you can go to these other places, and I'm telling you, you can try to talk to somebody, and it's tough. It's a small avenue. They have their place just like you have your place, but again, this is something we're striving for on this show on Windham Weekly, to bring you folks like Bob in to bring, just to expose Windham IGA, the man behind the butcher guy, he's screaming at you when you come to the door, save the butcher. He's on the TV screen. He's a big star. He's not as big as I am.
Well, you know Gary Pomo, right?
Of course I do.
Gary's a great friend. I mean, he really is a very personal friend the whole day. And it's because of Gary where we are today as far as the Help Save the Butcher program. That's his in-laws that actually, who have both passed on now, God bless them. But I mean, that they actually do the Help Save the Butchers. But I got to tell you, I got to tell you where Help Save the Butchers came from. We went to a seminar, and there's someone always knows something that I do not know. I know enough about my business and about business and about life that there's always someone that's experienced something that I have not, and they can share with me and I can learn from them. And we went to a seminar that IGA had down at a food show, and they had showed this chain in Texas that did a thing again. This is when Walmart was first coming in, okay? And about a little old lady is in a wall, which obviously a store that looks like a Walmart, and she's walking around the store and she's going, "Where's the butcher? Where's the butcher?" Right? And she's looking in the back room. She can't find anyone. And we came back from the meat cutters. We came back because I had all my guys down there. We were standing around the bench. Back then, we had 4 benches put together in the middle in the old store. Everything. I said, we got to do something like that. And one of the guys says, well, it's kind of like Help Save the Whales. So I said, Help Save the Butchers. Right? And that started the program. Right? And that was back in 2000. Okay? And the program ended up going national, like I said. And I've spoken from everywhere, from Atlanta, Georgia, and Coca-Cola corporate headquarters, to San Diego, to Ohio, where other wholesalers like Bizzuto's have called me in and said, hey, just share what you do with us. That's all I do. And I absolutely, you guys might be sorry this, because you can't shut me up. We talk to me. I like what I do.
I'm glad that you do.
I like what I do, and I enjoy it. Yeah, and I enjoy sharing it.
Talking about your business again, one of the things I know is as I've shopped in there, Willimantic or Windham, we've got a rich background in various personalities, various nationalities.
Oh, yeah.
And I see that you seem to be catering to different ones. How conscious are you of making sure your material or your produce, your meats, are attractive to different nationalities?
Very, very.
You seem to, especially more than like a Big Y or a Stop and Shop.
Yeah, no, very, very. I'll give you one example. You talk about the meat business. So we sell a lot of meat, but come Christmas time, the Hispanic community in Willimantic, like pork shoulders. On a weekly basis, I sell about 2,000 pounds of pork shoulders a week, okay, every week. Christmas, I sell 10,000 pounds in a week,
Wow.
okay? That's, where other stores, now at the same time, right, I'm selling 100 cases, exports, prime ribs. I'm selling 100 cases of Angus prime ribs for Christmas, okay, to those customers that is, the more traditional Christmas, right? But at the same time, the Hispanic community wants pork shoulders. And dollars and cents wise, I mean, 10,000 pounds is a lot of pork shoulders, right? We're competitive on the price. Our produce department has that. That is, and we can talk about Spanish easily in Willimantic. It's like when I grew up in Rhode Island, being an Italian. Okay, the family shops together.
Yep.
They're loyal to the family. They take care of each other. Okay, they're great customers. If you take care of them, they're coming back. Okay, and that is, I love that. Okay, I love that community type thing and everything else. You have to take care of that customer. My job is to sell the customer what they want. If I got to re-educate my customer and how they do their cooking and living and everything else, I'm making a big mistake. I have to give them what they need. So whatever ethnic things, we get a lot of different requests. I mean, we sell whole pig heads. we sell anything that our customer wants and needs. So.
Except for lamb.
Bob and I, he needs to bring. I'll talk to him about the lamb offline.
Except the lamb, right? Yeah,
The lamb.
I know. I'll call a guy I know.
Yeah.
And grape leaves.
See, I'm from Rhode Island. I know a guy.
Yeah, hey.
We need grape.
I used to work up Federal Hill. Oh yeah, a little butcher shop in Federal Hill.
You need grape leaves and lamb. That's what we need to get.
Yeah.
So Bob and I have more in common than just Rhode Island. You developed the thing. With the lady in that commercial going, where's
That's an actual customer who did that. Oh, yeah. Well, no, but I don't know if you see the commercial. I apologize. Maybe
No.
Like I said, you got good. I'm sorry. Yeah. If you see the one about the girl asking me, do you know anything about me, or do you just work here? That was an actual customer that came in, young girl. She was pregnant as anything. And
At least 9 months.
She's close to it. Right, and I don't think it was 10, but she's looking at the meat case. She looked kind of lost. I said, "Can I help you?" And she said, "Well, do you know anything about meat, or do you just work here?" Right, that's the mentality in today's world, where you walk into a store and you already assume you know more about the product you want to buy than the person selling it does. And that is a sin. Okay, if you're going to represent something and sell it, you better know what the heck you're talking about and what you're having. And that's how we want to share with the customer. I got one meat cutter over there, Will. Absolutely love Will. He's so enthused about what he does. He loves so much what he does, cutting meat, and he loves to cook, and he loves to share recipes, that he promotes the store more than we do on his own Facebook page. I mean, he's sharing the recipes. He's doing everything. He's doing the cooking. He does videos.
You got to have someone full time on that social media to keep things going. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. So, but we love what we do over there. So,
Mark.
I've asked him a lot of questions.
I was going to say Bob and I obviously have that Rhode Island.
You know what they're going to say after this? Don't invite that guy back.
We got that Rhode Island heritage together, and he thinks he's a hot shot with where's the beef? Is there someone here? 40 years ago I started my own because, as you know, I'm a huge celebrity.
Well,
and I would go to Board of Ed meetings. I'd go to
weight
Board of Ed meetings at Doyle, and I'd come in. Where's Doyle?
Yeah.
Where's Doyle?
Yeah, we refer to Ken as the prime rib cut.
Bone in.
Yeah,
bone in.
With a nice knuckle of fat.
Bone in and fatty. Yeah, that's
you
what we
got
Oh, that's the tastiest.
So, what else we have to talk about in terms of the new store? You're only going to be able to enter from 32. Can you enter from the back?
No, you can't.
You
No,
can't.
you
so
can't.
so all the customers have to enter.
The
from
entrance
32.
to X is going to stay
Okay.
the same. And like I said, that's subject to the State Highway Department.
Yep.
And quite honestly, we did look at the idea of putting another entrance on there, but it would have killed all the parking spaces that we were adding.
Right.
Because the entrance requires in two directions so much of a turn space.
And you have a light just down the street from you, so I don't see the state put another
I would
light
love
there.
to see just even a caution light.
Right, that would be good.
Just enough to slow them down.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah. But like we talked about earlier, now that they'll be able to get into your parking lot and find a place to park, they don't have to worry about hanging out in the driveway as much.
Yeah. Well, when we did the last remodel, they actually made us widen the road in 500 feet total.
Yeah.
We had to pay pay to
That's why you brought
repave
in, yeah.
32. That's why this, because before that it was even worse. Was worse. You know.
So as we're finishing up here, tell us about the grinders. You're now famous. So I guess you've taken over the realm of Remy's grinders now.
We try to, yeah. I mean, everything's sliced fresh every day. It's unlimited toppings on the grinders. We do an 8-inch and a 12-inch every day. Well, a large and a small. We're very reasonably priced. I actually had another person. Business in town say, would you please raise the price on your grinders? You're making a hustle the rest.
So how many grinders we sell on a weekend?
On a day, anywhere from 250 to 400.
Wow.
Yeah, on a day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's a value, and you get the working guys coming
Yeah.
in, grabbing and going.
Yeah.
You got someone who's exhausted at the end of the week, grabbing and going. They're a value in a great service, I think, from the store.
Thank you.
I want to take a minute to thank Bob from Wyndham's IGA on Route 32 in South Wyndham. Not just for being here today with us, sharing some laughs and stories, but for investing and believing in our community. Because if he didn't believe in our community, he's not gonna lay out the amount of capital to do what he has to do, and he's doing it for a stronger future. And so please support the IGA store. He's your independent grocer here in town. Next week we have, I believe, the board of directors from the Dollars for Scholars. Am I correct, Mark?
That's currently on the schedule, right?
Wow.
Absolutely.
See? Who said I'm dumb and forget things all the time?
I did.
That's right.
All right.
Wrap it up.
Hey, guys, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
That's it
Thank
from
you for
Windham
having me.
Weekly. Thank you.